without any further ado, it's time for me to quickly take you towards the next segment and the next panel discussion. And the subject for the next panel discussion is also very, very interesting, something that I personally am looking forward to as well. Talent development and retention in the PR industry. Now, this is something which I know a lot of youngsters are really keen about, a lot of college kids I met here. So I am sure that it will be really, really valuable to all of you. And to lead this session, we have our session chair, Swati Nathani, co-founder and CBO, Team Pumpkin. So please put your hands together for Swati Nathani. Ma'am, can we please have you on stage? Thank you so much. Swati Nathani, if you can hear me, would request you to please join us on stage. Joining her, we have Anika Wadhwa, Account Director, 80dB Communications. So please put your hands together for Anika Wadhwa. Next, joining them, we have Dolly Tayal, Chief Client Officer, Brand Sports and Entertainment, BCW India. Hi, thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. Next up, we have Ekta Bhaskar, Global Head, Corporate Communications, BLS International Services. Thank you. Joining them, we have Rekha Gehani, People and Cultural Leader, Media Mantra. Once again, would request Rekha Gehani to please join us on stage. Thank you so much for being here. Next up, joining them, we have Sumathi Chari, Director and Senior Partner, PRHUB. Please put your hands together for Sumathi Chari. So who's here, who's not here? If we can just have a... Okay, so we are still waiting for Swati Nathani. You, all right, ma'am. Thank you so much. कहाँ थे आप? चाय पी रहे थे? तो आप चाय अंदर ले आते? We'll give you company with the tea. I know tea is very important. All right, give it up for the fantastic panel. Finally, we have with us Swati Nathani, Anika Wadhwa, Dolly Tayal, Ekta Bhaskar, Rekha Gehani and Sumathi Chari. And you know the best part about this panel? It's an all-girls panel, so zordar taaliyan to banti hai yaar. Superb. Looking forward to it. Please keep a tab of time. बहुत सारा time जा चुका है और बहुत कम बचा है. So जैसे ही buzzer बजे, please a kind request to wrap it up. Thank you so much. Over to Swati, ma'am. Go for it.
Hi everyone, good evening. It's my pleasure to welcome you all in this womanal that we have today. I know we are very used to of manals, but today we have this beautiful womanal present here. I'd like to introduce the topic to you. The PR industry is ever changing and ever evolving. There's been a dynamic shift in the industry itself. There are many tech platforms emerging. Journalists are going vocal about what they feel and the kind of pitches they receive. Brands are focusing so much more on paid media right now. And again, AI is changing the game forever. And therefore, in this dynamic environment that we are living in, retaining and developing PR talent has become one of the most critical focus area for our industry. Today, during this panel, we'll be discussing insights on the challenges, strategies, and solutions on the topic talent development and retention in PR industry. To help us gain some wonderful insights, I have a star-studded panel here with me. Please allow me to introduce Anika, Dolly, Ekta, Rekha, and Sumathi here, all of them very beautiful and some with magical talents. I definitely know Rekha has a special talent of recognizing people. She does better than AI. So after the panel, you can meet her and test the skill. But without wasting much time, I'd like to start on the topic, and I'd like to start with Anika. Anika, could you just talk a little bit on what are the current challenges that we are facing in the PR industry for developing and retaining talent?
Thank you. I think before talking about the challenges, would just start, I think we are living in the world revolution, you know, right from the rise of artificial intelligence, the new breed of consumer which wants everything personalized and intuitive. So brands need to rethink when it comes to talent management and retention. You know, I feel talent is valuable, but it's scarce. Finding the right talent is the biggest challenge, it is. But given how things are evolving, first, the couple of challenges that I feel personally is first is the rapid technological change. I think with the rise of technological change, PR professionals, including the industry, needs to be well versed with this Gen AI, artificial intelligence and all that. I think we need, second is be relevant, understanding the kind of communication that your consumer is adapting or absorbing. Third is data analytics and being creative. We all hear the term, you know, come out with out of box thinking and all that. But at the end of the day, your client said, "Paisa kitna lagega?"
Absolutely.
So we need to justify every time. Yes, you know, whatever moolah you're giving it, you will get the ROI. Fourth, I think the evolving media landscape, we never heard about the term podcast, now it's there. We never heard about these various platforms, webinar, and all that. So these are the kind of challenges that an individual foresee, and as an organization, one would feel as well. But I feel, a company should have a multifaceted approach, building an inclusive and very supportive workplace, investing in the training, ensuring that there is a clarity of the career development of an individual. I also feel, rather than finding the perfection, let's build it, as Richard Branson used to say, and still say, and I completely believe, take care of employees, they'll take care of your business, and I'll just say in the end that for me, talent, for me, it's 3 T's. It's train, which is very evident. Secondly, talk. Talk is not you are talking, you are hearing what they talk. Fourth, trust what they are doing and empower them completely. This is personally that I feel that how PR industry could this.
Wonderful, Anika. I think that really helps. 3 T's of talent development. I think it's for some notes to be taken. After listening to some wonderful advice from you, Anika, I'd like to move to Dolly. And I'd like to ask her, Dolly, what do you think can be some strategies for talent development? Is there anything specific your team is doing or anything you'd like to throw some light on?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Swati, and so well said, Anika. I'll take some tips from that. I feel in any industry today, and specifically ours, which is so people-centric, it is extremely important to build a growth mindset in your employees. And when I say growth mindset, it means when people across levels, irrespective of their designations, have that eagerness to grow and learn. Because only when you have a growth mindset, you will be open, you will be curious, you will be creative, right? Or solution-oriented. Mostly what happens in our industry is people are always raising issues, problems, right? Moving that from being problem-oriented to being solution-oriented. And all of that is only going to come on the back of continuous learning and development. And I think this insight Prema had from the beginning of when we started BCW. So it's not only a value for us it's a journey of every employee who works in our organization. So from upskilling to reskilling to leadership development programs, we do invest a lot in that, one. And two, what I would like to say is even think from a business point of view. It makes so much more sense to just reskill and upskill your own people than to constantly hire from outside, right? It doesn't bring in stability either internally or to your client relationships, to what Anika said. Sirf paisa kitna nahi lagega aur coverage kahan aayegi bhi पूछते हैं on a more and more daily basis, right? So it's really important to upskill your own employees, and that is what we really invest into doing, Swati.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dolly. That was very insightful. But being on the topic of upskilling, We have a people and culture leader here, Rekha, and I think it would be great to ask her, Rekha, continuing on the strategies for retaining and developing talent, how do you think people can look for career advancement and more growth opportunities within organization?
Sure, Swati. Thank you for the question, and I love the thought shared by Anika and Dolly. So building on that, I don't think just PR, but most of the industries are facing the challenge of retention and the right talent. We can see that the skill gap which is there right now. You have a lot of people who are unemployed, but the right skill is missing for that particular job. What has worked for us, and it's one of the strategies to retain people. What we call it is the ICE framework, where the first step is to identify. So what we do internally is that using a lot of forums of one-on-ones, employee surveys, and feedback, you first understand what is the development need for your people. It is different for somebody who is a fresher and who has started his or her career first time in the PR industry versus a mid-level manager or a senior person, right? So first understanding that through a lot of tools and modes of communication. And then the second is of ICE is C, which is communication. Being in the communication industry, there's so much focus on storytelling and the right messaging for external stakeholders, which are our clients, right? But we don't invest so much and don't focus on the communication for internal stakeholders, which are our employees. And I think it's getting more and more crucial now that we have the right messaging and storytelling, and people understand through town halls, through all hands meetings, through walk the talk, what your leadership is doing, and give them the right message. Also, what I've seen as more impactful is if your company's growth goals are aligned with the person's personal and professional goals, then the retention is even better. And especially for top performers and talent, which is always looking for challenge and higher growth and faster growth. And lastly is what Dolly also pointed out is empowering people, investing in them, in training, upskilling, and fulfilling that skill gap. So once you know that the person has to move to the next level and they have ample growth opportunities from you, are you providing the right platform and right resources? And there's a huge ROI when you invest in your own people. There's no denying that. So I think the ICE framework works great for us, and it can work in any industry or any.
Wonderful, wonderful, Rekha. I think the takeaway from here really is that while we are focusing so much on external communications and storytelling, and it's something that we are equipped to do, we just don't push the agenda enough internally, and therefore it's a takeaway for all of us. Being on this topic, and we are talking here people retention, people development, people feeling belonging to a certain organization, we definitely cannot leave out the topic of diversity and inclusivity. I think that is the talk right now, and very importantly so. I would like to ask Sumathi on her views on the topic of diversity and inclusion.
Thank you, Swati. So, across industries today, diversity and inclusion is something that's most spoken about. But one thing we'll have to keep in mind, even as we speak about it for the PR industry, I think we are at a slightly more basic level of diversity and inclusion than most other industries. Because if we have to talk about underrepresented segments and demographies of the population, I think we'll have to start at a basic level. There are two things that will drive this and become very important as we speak of all the talent challenges that the industry is facing and the growing demand for talent. One is if we were to broaden that talent pool, we do not have a choice but to become more inclusive than what we are today, focused on certain segments, certain cities, etc. when we speak of India. The second thing is the changing communication landscape and the integration will just mean we need more diverse skill sets. And while reskilling or upskilling should be looked at. That will not be enough as we grow further in the years ahead. And therefore, we need to look at skill sets from different segments. And it should begin happening now. It's high time, because when we speak about more digital, when we speak about AI, when we speak about more research and analytical skill sets, etc., all of that may not be possible only with people with a communications or journalism background. So these two factors will definitely drive it moving forward. Agencies and organizations will not have a choice but to look at diverse skill sets for their teams when they look at communication and branding. Now, when it comes to the underrepresentation, I think a few things that could definitely help us make a start is, like I said, the talent pool is still focused on certain metro cities right now. I think much like the IT industry probably did, there is a growing talent pool, at least in the tier 2 cities to begin with. And we need to, we have made a start. And I think like many others discover, it's beginning to work well, because one, the choice, you're not spoiled for choice with that talent pool. The hunger for growth is far more. Yes. Therefore, the retention levels are a little better. Where it's really challenging is the amount of investment you need to make probably in upskilling them once they are there. But if, this entire diversity and inclusion, while we can start at an agency level, it's something that the industry needs to get together to think of the future and start working towards it, while we work with academia or with, as association bodies, etc. So one is that. The second is, of course, like I said, people with engineering backgrounds or research and content. And there, I think we are making some headway. Many agencies are beginning to look at different talent pools. And, there are people switching from technical backgrounds to try and explore opportunities. The big thing that probably we have not communicated so well, and it's beginning to happen, is that the growth opportunities are definitely increasing. Compared to many other industries, I think after the initial few years, whether it's, the growth in remuneration levels, if you're really skilled, as well as the exposure, it's definitely becoming better. That's another thing which we need to do as an industry, because then you become aspirational as an industry for people to start wanting to join and, grow. So that's the third thing. And at an agency level, I think at the basic level, we need to say, where do we need to make, the small changes? So you put some goals every year, have some, diversity and inclusion policy that many of us still don't do. But if we put some structure to it, then we'll make a change. And the most spoken about, and you just introduced us as a womanal, so it's spoken about most often, the gender thing. It's definitely improving. It's changing, needless to say. Having said that, like we discuss often, I think there are challenges when it comes to women at senior levels, and taking up leadership roles. That's another thing that we did this year. Empower many of them to come back and still feel like they are in senior and good roles, rather than just freelancing or supporting, to be able to take up senior roles and actually lead the front with clients. We have someone from Moonar all the way, like driving client accounts and teams efficiency. So it could be possible. We just have to keep trying it and moving one step at a time.
Wonderful, Sumathi. Thank you so much for your insights. I think some great takeaways for us there. One, definitely there is no choice but to have diversity and inclusivity policies in our company and start thinking towards that. And second thing, I really like what Sumathi said, is that we need to make PR industry, a really attractive industry for workforces to join in. And that can only be possible if we are thinking progressive and if we are making advancements in this industry. But talking about inclusivity and diversity, I think eventually everything will lead to a positive work environment. And therefore, I'd now like to ask Ekta, in terms of how she thinks we can create a very positive work environment in the PR industry.
I think before talking about creating a positive working environment, we really need to understand what a positive work environment means. Because the people out there, they spend most of their times at, their workplaces, 9 to 10 hours, probably. It's a home away from home. So you need to feel like at home. Then only you'll be able to, create that kind of a work atmosphere for them where they will thrive. And I think a positive work environment, the main standpoints, the pillars of it, I would say would be, it can only happen when the employees, they work on 3 points: collaboration, innovation, and growth. And they thrive. That will only thrive if there's a positive work environment for them. And how do we do that? We do that by, a positive work environment doesn't really mean luxury. It means, providing them with a workspace where they feel like, their voice is being heard. Being heard is very important. And in our PR industry, when we talk about public relations, it's more of talking that we do, all right? And the other person listens to us. But when you're at the office, at your workplace, it works the other way around. You need to be a good listener if you're a good talker. And I think if the people you're working with are good in a way that they listen to what you're saying, I think that makes a lot of difference. When you're being heard, when your voice is being heard, makes a lot of difference. And yes, as very rightly said, the vision of a company has to be aligned with the aspirations of the employee. If that is done, I think if that is there, that balance is maintained, a positive work environment is for sure to be there.
Thank you, Ekta. I think very sharply mentioned in terms of how we can create positive work environment, and it's not about luxury. It is about feeling heard. It is about feeling the sense of belongingness to a certain organization. And with this, the time is over. I'm almost scared the buzzer will hit very soon.
Timer over.
So, yes, thank you so much. If you're looking for hiring and if you're looking at getting hired, I'm sure you got some wonderful insights in here. Thank you so much, and thank you so much, my wonderful panelists. Great discussion here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Please give it up once again for this panel full of beautiful women that we have here with us today. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us.